months ago, I did a video where I kind of just threw some shit on a plate, a bunch of different things that I had been eating at the time, and I put them all on a plate at the same time and made a video, and it was kind of funny. It was kind of just like a weird little random meal I threw together. This was like 3 months ago already. It got like some funny comments at the time. I thought it was pretty funny. Some shit that I would eat when I'm drunk. You scare me in an enthralling way. Boy dinner. I like that one. Boy dinner. That was a funny comment. This shit is tough, bro. Munchie meal. The type of shit I be eating when my dad isn't home. My dad works from 4 to 2 p.m. So yeah, when you're 17 years old trying to find good food in a house that barely has anything, and by the way, it's just me and my dog and my dad. My parents live separately and I only really see her on the weekends. But anyways, yeah, literally what I used to do is I used to take those, like, add water type of mashed potatoes and then cook them up. And then this guy said a lot of things, but you get the point. Eating a little bit of this and a little bit of that at meal. Stomach's gonna sound like RVD's intro. I don't actually know what that means. I just made some bullshit. Yeah, natural cravings. Stomach's gonna sound like a BMW. Yeah, funny stuff. I thought it was pretty funny, and I guess I kinda did it again here. Not as good as the first time, I would say, because there's only 3 types of items here, not 4. And it's not as weird, I feel like, because the first video had Bosco sticks, mashed potatoes, cold pepperoni slices, and what was the other thing? The White Castle sliders, yeah, duh. The mashed potatoes, they're such a sloppy thing, you know, it kind of feels, anyway. This is kind of the exact same thing. I got 12 bagel bites, 4 White Castle sliders, and a full box, it's a small box, of Kroger cheese curds. It's very hot in here right now because it's humid outside, and I didn't have my AC on the entire time that I was just prepping this stuff. It's hot. I'm hot and sweaty. Let's eat. Any minute now. Quick little close up here at everything. I had to time everything in a really specific way. You know, I did the bagel bites in the oven first for a little bit, then I threw the mozzarella, the cheese curds in with them a few minutes later. Microwaved the White Castle sliders a few minutes before everything else was done. Let's see if I did all right. I think I want to start with the sliders here. They're very, very bready, you know. I never really noticed just how, like, it's just a lot of bread on these things compared to how thin the burger is with the cheese and the onion. Reminder, I'm definitely not eating all of this, but you never know. These things are always so good. I buy them and then they kind of just sit there because I never really feel like doing them for a video. These are pretty, I don't think they sound amazing, but I could eat a pretty good amount of these for a video if I had to. going through this entire first can of Diet Coke's already gonna be gone, you know. I got a second one right there, but man, we're gonna need some more probably. Alright, well, gonna need to pour some more of this. Alright, I don't think we're gonna focus too heavily on either one of these at a time. I think I'm gonna just start with a random. I think I will start with the pizza bagel bites, honestly. I think that's the best spot to start. Because I did these in the oven, they're gonna be a bit crunchier. They actually get very crunchy from the oven. When you do them in the microwave, they're very chewy, and I kinda like them when they're chewy, but I figured I got more of them. I can do chewy ones a different time. I said I wasn't going to focus on one, and then I proceeded to focus on one. Let's get some cheese curd action here. Kroger has a very good, just a basic cheese curd. It is good. I wish I didn't, it took me a bit to, like, get this all onto the plate and organized, and, like, I was, like, stacking it all onto the plate, and then I felt that like, the corners of a couple of the burgers were still cold, because when you do the White Castle burgers in the microwave, they're very, like, you gotta be careful, because they get hot very quick, like, based on how many of the burgers you have on the plate and where you have them positioned. The heat circulates very weird in the microwave, and I only did them for like 1 minute, which is already technically longer than you're supposed to do, because those things heat up like a nuke. and like they were very, very hot to the touch when I tried to get them off the plate for the first time, and then as I was arranging them, I realized like the corner of one of them was still kind of frozen in the corner of another, and so I threw them back onto the plate, threw them in for another 30 seconds, and it was fine. But it was just, I wish everything was like a little bit more fresh. That's why I'm kind of trying to rush through to get as much of this down as I can while it's still fresh. You know what I mean? It's already been 16 minutes since I started recording the video, which is after I took everything out of the oven and the microwave, so, maybe I should shut up and keep eating. That's all. Yesterday it was like one of the first really hot days here in a while. It was like 74 degrees and rainy and humid outside. And I've said this a million times, but I sit here at my computer when this table's not in the way. When the table's not here, I'm sitting like right here. My sliding glass door, not really well insulated, is literally right there. Right there. So whatever's going on outside, I can kind of feel it. I can feel like the mugginess of the humidity and stuff. And I've recently, back in the fall, I used my AC unit, which is like right there for like cooling and whatever, and it was good. It's just loud, not that loud. Like it's too loud for a video, obviously. I don't care about that. I would never turn that on during the video, but just in general, it's just loud. And I had used my furnace to cool, or whatever. I don't know how that works, but I had used this to cool me down, my furnace, like a week or two ago, and it worked pretty well. And so I figured I would do that when it gets hot again. I tried it yesterday while I was streaming, because it also would be quieter, because the AC unit's like right there next to where my microphone would be, and it wasn't even that loud anyway, but I didn't want to hear it anyway. And like, it said it was like 80 degrees in my room, and I also had all three computers on, and the heat, I've noticed in the past that does make the room hotter, but it was like 80 degrees, and I told my thermostat cool to 74, and it felt like it was blowing like barely any air. I don't think it's broken, I think it's just not supposed to do that much, but and the temperature just kept going up, and it got to like 85 degrees in here, it said, which was just absurd. And so eventually I caved and turned on the actual AC unit, and surprise, surprise, everything got better. And it was actually not too bad in here until I just realized, like, when I sat down here and had to turn that cool air off for the video, and I just had the oven on for a while, that hot air gets around. It's hot and muggy in here, it's just very gross. And like when I'm like sitting at my mouse pad, I have like a big table-wide mouse pad, and my arms are on it, and I'm like playing games and stuff, my fingers are getting sweaty on the keyboard and the mouse, and my arm is like getting sweaty on the mouse pad. It just feels yucky. Like everything just feels really swampy today and yesterday. It's probably going to be that way for a while. I'm going to have to get used to using that AC unit and get used to being hot like this during my videos for a while. It was kind of like this back in the fall. I mean, I only started making these videos in October, but it was still kind of like that sometimes. Especially at the later time of day, because the sun sets right there, and when the sun's over there, and the light and the heat gets onto the door right there, I cook. It's like I'm in a sauna type shit. These actually are like, I kind of want to go back to the cheese curds. The bagel bites are actually really like a middle ground between the crunch and the chew today compared to what they used to be. I think, I don't know. Maybe I could have just cooked them a bit longer or something, I don't know. I've said this a couple of times now. I tried these in college one time. I don't remember how I did them, whether it was in the oven or the microwave, but they tasted like chlorine. That's what I kept saying. Or they tasted the way that chlorine smells. I've said this in the videos with these before. And so I didn't ever want to try them again for a very long time. And then I think Leprechaun convinced me to try them again. And I tried them again. And I do still taste that smell, but they're like still fine. Like they're not bad or anything. It was just that weirdly bad when I tried them. It's like the sauce or something just has something that tastes the way that chlorine smells. I don't know. Through 2 cans of Diet Coke in this video already. I'm kind of surprised, but I guess not really. I must go retrieve a third one from my refrigerator. My hair is so... like, it looks like okay sometimes, but like... my hair feels the moisture, you know, and the heat and the sweatiness and whatever, the mugginess. It makes it all weird. Do like a couple more little bites here just because. What is this? These definitely aren't too fresh anymore. That's okay though. Dude, can we be serious? had some snacks when I was like streaming and whatever yesterday, but that was it. And then I fell asleep after. Slept for a long time. I got up at like 5 in the morning today. It's like 9:15 now, but yeah, those are definitely not fresh anymore, and they're getting difficult to chew. Not that difficult, but you know, a cheese curd is kind of like a thick cheese curd when it isn't like warm and melty. It just takes a lot of extra effort to chew, and it's hard to put in the extra effort to chew when you're not really even hungry anymore. A little different kind of video, I guess. I don't know.